So I'll take you through the journey of obstetricians, gynecologists, and when we see an opportunity, we walk into the opportunity and utilize it. I know I'm speaking to a college which has been in existence for 23 years. I'm talking about a college which is in existence for just 5 years. And within 5 years, 2 days ago, we finished examinations for the first group of students. And we have been in existence for 5 years. But why? We got an opportunity and we ran away with it. We understand that I've been talking to quite a number of you. Where does the nurse get training, especially when it comes to specialty training? Is it in class somewhere, or is it at a place of work? And how can we make it easier for the nurse to work and at the same time train, so that they don't have to leave their station? And that was the concept behind Ecsaconm. I think Ecsaconm is Ecsaconm. I will not want to mention much about it. We have been taken through. It is a college. It's a college that trains specialist obstetrician gynecologists. That is in simple terms. It was launched in Kigali in 2017. We are just under 6 years. And majorly, the essence is how do we train? And how do we train specialists? The only available mode of training specialists in our country, has been universities. We cannot all fit in universities. And the universities for a long time has been Nairobi and Moi. And so the question is, how do you get those days? How do you get to have doctors leave Mombasa, Kilifi, go all the way to Nairobi, or go to Eldoret, or go Karen to other areas in Kisumu, in Maseno to train? What is so strange about having to go to sit in class somewhere in this era of online training? Why don't we just have doctors sit where they are and be trained? That was the basis of this. The country is same as what we have in Ecsaconm. We are a sister college. And that is our vision and mission. All revolves around training specialist obstetrician gynecologists. Of course, our overall goal is to produce skilled, competent obstetrician gynecologists who will contribute to care of women. I'm going to speak this in relation to how to improve care of women when we are having obstetrician running away with specialty training, but we are not having midwives. A unit that is equipped with obstetricians and at the same time a unit that is equipped with specialist midwives will definitely give good outcomes. But when you have one group training, but the others are not sure where they belong, are they nurses? Are they midwives? It becomes a problem. The objectives of any college all hangs around, can we train? And can we train? Our governance structure, like any other structure, I want to mention that in all these colleges, the Exa colleges, they are colleges without walls. At one time, someone was asked, where is your college? And when you go to Arusha, will you be walking into a college? As we know, it's a college without walls. And who runs the college? It's the secretariat. But when we come to governing structure, we have the president, we have the secretary general, the treasurer, and the training is domiciled in 3 committees. One, the Education and Scientific Committee, which conducts training. The Examination and Credentials Committee, which I'm a key member of for the Ecsaconm, which administers the examination, and Finance and General Purpose Committee, which looks for resources so that we can actually train these doctors. After the college was inaugurated in 2017. We sat down and said, our colleagues, the surgeons, are already doing this. How can we move it? But of course, there are so many bottlenecks. We had so many meetings. I remember the number of meetings we had in this town, in Coast Region, and our colleagues in Nyanza. Like any other program, the bottleneck is usually at the top. And the bottlenecks to trainings will always be at the training institution. Our existing training institutions have invested as much as their key mandate is to train, but you will always have issues. Do you have trainers? Do you have lecturers in our context? But I ask yourself, and I look at nursing, and I've been in public sector for some time. I've seen students from medical schools, and I know there are nurse academicians here, and most of you are nurse clinicians or clinical nurses. Majority of the time, students spend at the bedside. Is there an academic nurse at bedside? Do you shall have an academic nurse at this bedside? Many times is that you find students are taught in class, then they are left to the clinical nurse at the bedside. And so those were the areas which we had, but we took time and we discussed. Keynote, and I want to mention this curriculum development and approval. I've speak this in the context that I've looked at the curriculum, partially the curriculum for Ecsaconm on the various 4 specialties that have come up. You know, who is responsible for accreditation and registration? Our regulatory bodies. While the Exa region, as Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, and Zimbabwe, and others, have different contexts. How do we make it easier for the curriculum to be accepted within our existing setup? So we went through curriculum development, which was approved by Medical Practitioner Dentist Council in 21. It was a taxing problem, because how do you harmonize the existing versus what is existing in Tanzania, Uganda, and Rwanda? Of course, the process culminated. After that, we had to convince the hospitals. How do you walk into a hospital and convince them that you can train? Because the first question is, do you have trainers? And that will be the question that will be asked in the various hospitals. Do you have trainers? And how do we go about it? And given that Coast General was already an existing hospital with COSEXA, it was easy to convince the administration to have this in place. We applied to the Medical Council, and we were formally allowed to start training last year in September. The first intake was last year in September. Of course, why training? We know that currently, worldwide, many authorities have embraced collegiate system of training. Our facilities in the various universities many times have not expanded, and they are not able to offer many nurses or doctors with opportunities. There is increasing costs. I know as we speak, you know what we are talking about, cost of university training, where it has gone to. Many of you who are doing even BSN were paying recently 200,000. Right now you're going to be paying well beyond 400,000. Is it going to be accessible to many of you? Of course, we know that many counties are not able to release you. Many of you apply, but you're not able to be released. Who is willing to release many staffs and then leave the place unmanned? That is one key area that we are looking at. Of course, disruption of services, which is all over. And then being away from families. All this tells us, can we look forward to adopt a model that can be friendly, that can allow us to train while we are working? Of course, we already have facilities. Facilities exist. We have you talk about who are the mentors, who are going to be the trainers. We are trainers in our way because we have been training these students when they come to the clinical areas over years. They are taught in class, they come to you at the clinical area. Who does the training? It's you who does the training. So when someone asks who are going to be trainers, you already exist. You're already there. Of course, we know what the justification of the program, what it does, how it will improve services within the various units. And then I just want to, achievements, I just mentioned that we're already training. We have enrolled so far 28 students. We already recognized various sites. In Kenya, we are having 3 sites. 2 are already in training, Jaramogi and Coast General. We've just accredited Kijabe. Even as I speak, next week we are going for TOT for Kijabe so that they can start training in this September. And we are looking forward to roll it out to other hospitals. Trainers, I say that you are trainers. And we looked at it to train master trainers. We have many trainers currently in Kenya, like in our program 25. And we took a deliberate measure. When we were training in Coast General, we felt that, we are going to have, I'm just finishing. We felt that midwives are on the way. And among the trainers, we actually incorporated one midwife to be part of our trainers. She was trained during our training course. I've just received a list from Kijabe, and among the trainers we are going to train 14, 4 are nurses, for Ecsaconm trainers. One bottleneck is you have a college without walls. Who will pay the trainers? When you have been training MTC students over the years in your clinical area, who has been paying you? Our trainers serve on honorary basis. Because we understand that these are services you are producing, you are giving, and so that has been a challenge, and that will be a bottleneck in very many areas. Because when you look at the school fees they pay, it's mega school fees, so you can't pay trainers. Type of training. So I just want to finish by just a small bit, because this affects you. And I took time to look at what you have currently as Ecsaconm, and she was going to talk about it. I started asking, who is a midwife? I work in an institutions whereby I admitted a patient 2 weeks ago at 24 weeks, 26 weeks. In a private sector, you admit them not in maternity, but in the female ward. So there was a question I come and ask, well, how was the fetal heart? They say the nurses in maternity have not come to listen to. There's always the push and pull between. I know you know it very well. There's this patient who has come to deliver, who is in second stage in casualty. But then you find the nurse in casualty is looking for a stretcher, all the energy to push this patient very fast to maternity. Why? Because midwives are in maternity. But when I go to maternity, I ask, where is the midwives? Then there's a quarrel between the two. Are you a midwife? Who is a midwife? Does it mean when you are in maternity, you are a midwife? When you are in medical ward, you are not a midwife? Of course, we all agree that there's need for midwifery specialization. It's a neglected specialty, because if I talk to you, other specialties are moving forward. If I asked you which colleges are offering a higher diploma in midwifery, any higher diploma? Why? Is it that we don't want to train midwives? Of course, we know there are degrees, colleges and universities offering midwifery. We know KRM in Bumwani. That's the only facility for long, and also you have mentioned Mata. And then you know universities which are offering broadly reproductive health. Those are the durations. And I've seen something about fellowship in your applications. But I understand that it's a prestigious status. That's how it's framed. It's a prestigious status awarded to nurses in recognition of completing a nursing specialty. That's what a fellowship is. Of course, the applications are there, They are open for these 4 areas: midwifery, critical care, neonatal care, and chronic disease management. Okay? They go ahead to describe the program in midwifery, what it involves, cost level, equivalent to a postgraduate diploma. And I want to mention this because as you embark on this journey, because ultimately regulation is at the Nursing Council. What does the word graduate mean? And I hope someone is going to describe that. When you it is when you come out as a fellowship, you'll be a postgraduate. Is it post-certificate? Because you have graduated with certificate. Is it a post-diploma? Is it a post-degree? Okay? That is an area that you need to clarify. Then prerequisite to join this program: membership, registered general nurse. Okay? Is it open for KRN? Is it open for KRCHN? Is it open for BSN? Because that is where you'll get bottlenecks. Because at the end of the day, the Nursing Council should actually be, when you're developing a curriculum which should be approved by Nursing Council, you need to have clear with that. Core competencies is a 2-year program. Assessment, I've talked about it. Majority of year 1 will be almost online training. Okay. The modules are there. And I've seen these prospectus which exists. So please, move forward this way. This is my last slide. There is need to have trainings under Ecsaconm. But the question is this. And she will be answering that question. How do you align the curriculum as it is with the requirement of the Nursing Council? Because different regions have that. Number 2, can you have some facilities accredited? I've been pushing, because General, someone has pushed me. There are so many here. Rofina, Salome, Kivuva have been pushing me. And at one time I was asking Rofina, can you run away with this? And Salome, and you can partner. I look at a situation whereby 2 facilities which are already offering, because General and Jaramogi, you can work together and make this possible. Thank you so much.